Hi, this is little dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into the microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Gothic Dark Mysteries. Now, in this episode I plan to finally visit the last new camp added by the mod, which is the Orc Hunters Camp, and do the quests there. There aren't many of them, so it's going to be rather quick. And then I'll finally proceed with the main storyline of the mod, having to do with the mysterious primevals. Oh, it's a really dark night with all the rain. Maybe it was just the clouds, because it's strange. It was it's a lot lighter here, and then it gets dark again, so I'm not quite sure why is that. But despite the relative simple nature of Gothic's graphics at this point, I still really like this game. Like, I think it's actually very atmospheric, even though it's hard to take it 100% seriously with its blocky mountains and whatever. But I still am very much immersed. Oh, damn it! I'm still very much immersed whenever I go and play this game. No. I'll forever remember things like, you know, going into the forest at night and fleeing from the wolves when you're really low level. No, but the combination is getting so complicated that I'm actually considering writing it down. Oh, that's a lot of things. Not that I necessarily need them at this point, but I think the pearl is actually used for one of the quests, so I guess it might be useful in that regard. Damn it, something's bugged with the mantling. feeling this isn't going to end well for me. Okay, it wasn't that bad. They are still a lot easier to kill than the orcs themselves, and to be honest, I'm kinda worried about the orcs. So this just gives you some basic information about the properties of the magic ore. There is also a book about the Battle of Varant, which is interesting because I think it contains one of the tomes. It contains a description of Varant, which mentions. Yeah, first of all, it mentions General Lee, who's obviously the leader of the mercenaries. So it confirms that he was an important figure in the king's army before he was sent into the mines. But it also mentions the swamps of Varant, which is inconsistent with the later shape of Varant shown in Gothic 3, because obviously when this game was written, they only thrown all those names as a sort of pieces of flavor. I suppose they didn't even think there would ever be a Gothic 3. Oh, damn it. It's interesting how sometimes I can still sprint with my sword out, and sometimes I can't. Not quite sure what this depends on. Because with the orcs, as I already mentioned, it's vital to close in before they unsheath their weapons, and this way you can deal a number of strikes to them when they are still unalerted. Which generally is it's a great advantage. probably should have bought the rest of the stock from the mage at the mine camp, because I now can afford it, and I'm quickly running out of potions at this point. Actually, this amulet might be better than my current one. Now the thing about the Orc Hunters is that they are pretty much all insane in one way or another, and it manifests in the way they speak to you. So for example, it's implied that this guy is a cannibal. You can see the camera angles still don't disappoint. Now it's beneficial to pick up the weapons of the orcs, because one of the guys here can actually buy them from you at full price. And he also gives you experience for it, so I guess this guy is bugged. I guess he just implied that a human female is just as scary as an orc female, which in turn is just as scary as an orc. So should we? Yeah, right, this guy. Oops, damn it, didn't want to pick that up. Judging from his attitude, I am rather surprised he found his way into this camp, but he's the guy that ripped off Slicer. Yeah, I don't want to kill him. I wonder if he's supposed to be like mentally deficient or something. Or I guess he can be like a teenager, because I guess Gothic's engine wouldn't really give you a proper way to render a teenage character, and probably in Myrtana you reach adulthood before getting to 18, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched to see teenagers thrown into the colony, especially because the intro made it clear that at this stage it's pretty much everyone, even minor criminals. Let me save just in case and change my weapon, because I don't want to whatever, I don't care at this point. I have so much ore that I don't really know what to do with it. Although I wonder, maybe I can just knock him down without killing him. Yeah, I guess I can. Now, Traffix's teddy bear is actually technically a weapon, so...
Jeszcze tego pożałujesz. Dobra, zapomnijmy o naszej małej sprzeczce.
So you can equip it, and theoretically you can even fight with it. Okay, let's talk to the others. It actually doesn't sound too plausible for a fire magician to be practicing human sacrifice in the name of Enos, because after all, Enos is the god of light, justice, and whatever. Basically, the good guy of the pantheon. But then again, as Gothic 3 proved, pretty much both Enos and Beliar, and also Adanos to a lesser degree, even though they exemplify certain stances and certain portfolios, they really view humans as more like pawns than they do like equals or somebody that deserves respect. Like Enos is the god of justice, but it doesn't mean that he's particularly fond of humans. He's just he made them to live and to praise him, to enjoy life, but it doesn't mean that they are like overly significant to him. So that's why in Gothic 3 you had the choice to basically oppose any kind of a god, as to manifest like mankind's independence from the influence of the gods, because it was deemed by Xardas and by the protagonist, if you chose so, that even though the influence of the quote-unquote good gods might be beneficial to mankind, it's still somewhat, like, it is in a manner subjugation, even though it's a benevolent one. It's definitely useful to come back to him from time to time and pawn all the orc weapons, because he not only gives you ore, which isn't really that important, but most importantly he also gives you experience, which, damn it, I wanted to get rid of the sun flare. I would have managed to steal a couple of kills.
Jeśli szukasz kłopotu,
Unfortunately,
no,
true to
i
their
żeby mi
name,
to był ostatni raz.
true to their name, the Orc Hunters are really good at killing orcs. Okay, exploring this land is going to be rather difficult because I can only kill a few orcs at a time. And I'm rapidly running out of healing potions. Which, again, it was a mistake not to buy everything the magician of the main character has in store. Damn it. If I had a magic capability, I could use the healing spell to heal myself, but that path is blocked for me until I proceed with the main storyline. Actually, there's an interesting location right here. Actually, more than one. Now that I think about it, there is this destroyed tower or shrine here, surrounded by zombies. And it contains a strange sword. But how do I... Well, I don't know about you, but I was always mightily scared of the zombies dying animation in Gothic. Like, it's just so nightmarish. They like disintegrate and they let out this nightmarish scream. I want to pick up the sword because the sword is actually an undead killing sword. So basically, it doesn't do any damage to any living creatures, but instead for... Those are some really persistent zombies, if you ask me. Wow, I'm actually surprised. Yeah, so it's called the Holy Banishment Sword, and what it does, or at least what it should do if it ends up working correctly, is with each hit, it takes half of the enemy undead health, and then when it's left with 1 health, it's killing it. It's actually quite efficient. Compare that to the number of hits I needed with my other weapon, and you can see it's actually quite useful, but you have to remember to use it, because obviously it only works against undead. Man, those lock combinations can get quite complicated. So I think the page here actually describes the sword. Yeah, the ideas behind this mod are really sort of undercut by the poor translation, because you can't exactly feel epic about this sword when it's described when it's described with such crude words. But basically it confirms that this sword is the bane of the undead, which is actually quite useful to me, because although I wanted to visit this location for a second, but I think I'll save it for later so I can change my weapon again, because for a second I thought I can just walk there, but that would require going around the whole mountain. So I think for now I'll just stick with the mission I got from the Orc Hunters. That might not have been the wisest thing. but I should be more or less okay. Okay. Yeah, the next time I'm visiting some magician, I really need to buy all his healing potions because before long I'm going to run out of them. Oh damn it. I totally didn't see the other one. If I did, then I would have killed it first. Where did it... What the... It just literally spawned out of thin air. Which, I'm not going to lie, was quite weird. Okay, this is the location where the missile, I mean the where the rock from the catapult of the mage from the camp in the mine fell, but I think I'm not going to go down there because I think you need to utilize the crystal to get out, and I want to still do a couple of things around here. Damn it. Oh. I was in a decent enough position, so it's a pity that I died. Okay. Oh. And I can see there are some healing plants here, which is great because I need those for the quest for the alchemist. Although what's annoying is that he didn't give me an exact number, so I guess I'm just going to guess. Whoa. Yeah, that's far too many of them to take with such a limited health. I guess I should lure them out slowly. At least it's a decent chunk of experience. We're already level 26. Pickaxe. Always useful, although at this point, yeah, I have 163 of them, so it's not going to be easy to break them all. damn it. It's getting so long that I can't really remember it all. Damn it. Oh, a rune of healing. That will actually... Oh, and a rune of storm of fire. Okay, that's actually... Well, that's actually useless for now, but it's going to be very useful in the future when I'll finally acquire the ability to use magic. So I guess I'm glad that I found that. Okay, I don't know if I want to start beef with the... I could kill those fire lizards, but it's going to be a little complicated. Okay, I guess this one got stuck on the... Okay, I'm not going to close in on there because that's the Orc City, and as you could probably guess from the name alone, it's pretty much crawling with orcs. So it's actually wiser to leave it for later, when I'll acquire some powerful magic. Apparently there was nothing up here the entire time. Whoa. What was that? I don't think the regular orcs can do magic. Yeah, so this apparently is the Orc Hunter that was sent to investigate and then was killed. But this episode has actually been long enough, so I'm going to save here. And that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.